Adrian Clark, who's also with us in terms of sales education. Now, we asked them to give us some ideas about where AI might be currently used within their business, some ideas and thought. This is going to be a fireside chat. So we're going to have an opportunity to ask them some more questions. But here's some of the comments that they raised when we asked them what's happening in terms of AI. From Linda Moore, she said, in the finance space, the most obvious area where AI is having an impact is in data scraping. The banks are using it to gather information for lending purposes. In fact, she's also heard from another accountant that the IRD are actively using AI to investigate business spending. Ooh, think about that, folks. Adrian, from the aspect of a sales trainer, says, you know, we use AI, very positive in any business, updating website content, using it for LinkedIn. I know I've done that a lot. But he said, with less salespeople available to train due to their jobs being replaced by AI, is that one of the negatives that's going to be coming through in the future? From Mike Vitale in the construction sector, renovating damaged products, property, he said, does AI have the potential to generate self-producing quotes for a trades-based service? And if so, how does it work? I think we've already heard some of that being shared earlier on. And Megan's got a couple of really good questions that she raises about property management. They're using ChatGPT to help craft tricky emails to tenants or owners. Obviously, you still have to go through and finish off the email after ChatGPT offers you something. Writing up rental adverts and using with a program called Tappy. So this is one of the areas where we talked about that automation and using an API to get in there. Tappy manages their work orders. So I've got another property manager, sorry to say that, Megan, who also uses Tappy, and I get all these requests for me to approve and authorize. So they're really good, clever ways to use this. But then she asked the question, gathering information from various sources in real time to make up rental appraisals. So for example, can you pull information from TradeMe, realestate.co.nz for market rent, etc., and then provide a range? That's a great question to ask. And then making videos to help problem solve using an avatar. So which programs are easy to use to put together for different platforms to explain processes like incoming tenants, outgoing tenants, onboarding, etc. So this is going to be, as I say, an interactive fireside chat. Jaden, over to you.
Cool. I mean, a lot to get through, isn't there? Should we start with you, Adrian? Have you tried anything? What's going on in your world?
As I said, what we've done is we tend to use it more for creating content. So we would use all of our LinkedIn posts now generated through ChatGPT. We do all of our website content. It's all been created in the same sort of way. So it's just we scratching the surface, really.
Cool. And so, like, what would be your next thing that you wanted to work on? Like, is there anything that's like any ideas you've had today? Like, really keen to hear how we could kind of build on that. I think that'd be really interesting, kind of going through that process of thinking how we can integrate AI into your business a bit more.
I think it'd be quite good that we could actually improve our programs. So we can sort of ask it to take what we're doing at the moment and improve.
Cool. Okay. That's awesome. We'll come back to that one. So hold that one. Let's go with that, and we'll come up with best out of the four. No pressure. Linda, how about you?
So I've been very successfully avoiding this whole ChatGPT AI
We'll get
stuff.
to you. We'll get to you.
And I think I've done a really good job. So today for me was a real eye opener, because obviously I know in the finance space, I know there's all this data scraping, and just to give you a little story, I did an experiment with one of my clients, and so we've done all the analysis of data through Xero. We sent that off to the bank as part of the loan application, and the bank came back and said, oh no, you send us the bank accounts, we'll scrape all the data and we'll do the figures. And the loan got turned down. And I said, what happened? Because we'd been told we would get it straight by the broker. And the figures that came from the data scrape were totally different totals. And when we went back to the bank and said, can you please tell us how you've got these numbers, because we've done exactly the same thing in Xero that you've just done, and they either could not or would not provide that information to us. Now that's a kind of a real, I guess a kind of a fear as to, well, where's the accuracy? And if they won't provide the information back from us, then how is that going to impact people who want to buy houses, people who want business loans, because we know as business owners, there's a lot of confusion between personal and business.
Yeah.
And so what are the banks actually, and what is the AI actually doing with that information? So that's also kind of a bit of an area. But I guess also for me, and this applies to all of you in business, I've just done my business org chart.
Yeah.
And I'm at the top of it, and I'm also at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
So I've sat here today going, I can move myself off the bottom.
Yeah, I love that. So it's like, your AI, your chief of staff now, or like will be?
Well, I think, I think I'm about to fire myself, actually.
Go on vacay, go to Fiji, like Dean over there, and have a good day. Amazing. So what was your name again? Mike. I wasn't going to say Mark. Mike, how's it going?
Very good, thank you, mate. Thank you so far today. It's been really good learning.
Yeah.
And especially that last one, just about the APIs. For me, I've got a real basic question as I always think about business, like it's like a body, you have a skeleton, and then the muscles, and then the skin, dress it up, sell it, right? So how would we strategically build the skeleton so that you're not spending all this time like automating, say, Salesforce, I don't use it, but it's sort of up there. And then that doesn't flow into this, like, is there like a strategy that you can go around implementing it? That's what I'm asking.
Cool. And Megan? Oh, yeah.
No.
Oh, no, cool. Sorry.
I'm just agreeing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think that would be a really good way. It is that taking it to that next level and saying, how can we utilise that? So for us to present to clients, property management, we interface, with inquiry, but then with tenants and owners regularly.
Yeah,
so it's streamlining that, presenting, we like to do videos and things, but a quick way of doing that provides another way of getting that information across. I've seen avatars being used, I think they're really great, for changing up what they see, and then also graphing. So being able to, on social media, provide a visual, not just always having the words, but being able to do that without then like doing it. I feel like you're doing all this work and then you say, oh, I could have done it. So I clearly know that it is much quicker, but what are some hacks for that?
Great. Should we start with, I think there's a few different layers there. We've got the, doing AI right, because the example of the bank, that's really scary. Like if we use it as our one and only, then you've got things like, how do I get it to generate some stuff and understand my business a bit better? And then the final one is, let's create some. I think I've kind of summarized it all right. Yeah. So I suppose there's a really interesting conversation here is, with the bank, for example, hope it's not the guys upstairs or downstairs, wherever they are. Wasn't good. So the ultimate thing that we've got there is, technology's great, but it's got its flaws. It's in its infancy, right? We've got, I was just having a conversation this morning on the way down, and I heard something and it made me think, we're really in the dial-up days of AI, okay? The internet was great back then, but it made it really annoying to use, right? And we've got some of those dial-up sort of things happening right now with the lack of data accuracy. Now, one of the big things with that is, and I think I've actually been looking at the bank stuff recently, is every bank has got its own formatting. And so since AI is predictive, the ultimate risk we have is giving a document to going, just read it, because you know how to read. You've got eyes, as they say these days. But the ultimate thing here is it's predictive. So if it doesn't recognize the pattern or something isn't quite right, we're going to get those sort of things. So the ultimate piece there is a dummy safe sort of full checking process. So there's that human error, so to go, hey, output before it goes back to the human, the client would be, here's our generated report. Here's how we got this, kind of giving some examples for the human sniff check in the meantime, because it's predictive, it doesn't have human instinct. You can't teach instinct yet, but for now it's very much data steps. So if we could add something like that, I think it's a huge thing for businesses, and I think whenever we're implementing AI in our businesses, cool, we can use it to our heart's content, but if it's things like literally loan applications, which are quite critical and sometimes very timely as well, like if you need an urgent loan, if it's getting declined for that, that's a scary thing that we've got in business. So we need to think about how we can add the human sniff check into things as well. So that would be my thoughts there. And so I suppose for all of us here, it's okay, cool, we're generating content, but we still need to review it to make sure it's on brand. Like we can teach it to be as on brand as we can, but we're also at the end of the day going to go, that's aligned with our objectives, what we want to do. You know, for sales information, obviously it's a bit more straightforward, but yeah, I think we've got to just think about how we do this. If you guys got any thoughts on like when you've been trying like different tools, there's been a few different things, like how you give feedback onto the work. Do you, like, for example, if you make a bit of content, do you rerun it or put something into your CRM? Like, do you do any sniff checking? What's your guys' current processes?
I've been rubbish in, rubbish out.
Cool.
Yeah, that's been my experience so far because I didn't know this stuff. So my first couple of attempts at a blog using ChatGPT, I basically went, oh, this is crap, and I wrote it anyway. So, yeah, and that's because I'm just, and then I didn't know how to get it out of ChatGPT either. That was the next problem, is it's produced this thing, now how do I get it out? So I didn't even know that bit. But I think what I've actually learned today also is how many crossovers I've got between all the different stuff that I'm using. So I did write on my notes there, I think I probably need to create a list of everything that I am using, because I've probably paying for some software to do something that I've probably got something else, or what you've shown today will be able to go, actually I don't need that bit anymore, which with my money mentor hat on is really quite cool, because it's all about, you know, getting rid of stuff that you don't need.
For sure.
So yeah, it's just there's me at the bottom of the tree again doing that.
And it's just that legwork, and I think that's the ultimate process here is internet. Like if you think about internet computers, it wasn't an overnight thing which we switched. It was a year-long process. Some people still drag their feet along, but eventually we got more savvy and we started adding more moving cogs into the process. And I think that's partly how it's going to be. It's that digital transformation-y sort of work where it's step by step, week by week, year by year, piece by piece, building it up. And then in 5 years' time, it may be this, you know, all-being thing if you don't have the resources. You know, the likes of the big businesses like the ones upstairs, downstairs, wherever they are, they can afford to throw lots of oodles of money to just build it out now because they can. Where I think us small businesses, it's like, I've got actual work to do. Let me just slowly implement this over time and go like that. Yeah. Anyone else any thoughts on, you know, processes, how you're currently using it, like in terms of reviewing content or?
I'm not using it.
You know?
No, I think your tips, you know, on the content, I had questions around that, so you need to keep telling it what you wanted. So that's been a game changer. And I think I was using it like Google, giving it shorter information, so giving it much more. I think, you know, like I was doing that, but I think you pointed out that it's a lot more. Like if I was sitting down with someone, started a job, you wouldn't just say, "Oh, just give, you know, just do that."
Yeah.
And they'd be like, "What?" So I think that's been really helpful for us.
I think with AI too, it's kind of identified that we kind of go on autopilot with a lot of things. Like no one thinks about how they communicate. No one thinks about how they do things. They just go, I just do it in second nature. Kind of hopping on the motorway, you go, going straight down, going to Hamilton. So I keep going, follow my nose till I'm there. Versus, okay, hold up, I've got to go to the left lane in 100 meters. Okay, I'm going to do that. Like step by step. You're not sitting down and mapping out your journey. Apparently my great papa used to, before I went to Auckland from Whangarei, he used to sit and he like step by step by step, but we've kind of just got used to autopiloting. So it's really interesting to just realise that. Yeah. Adrian, any thoughts?
Well, I'm fortunate enough actually to sit next to a very intelligent 23-year-old at work, and he, and he's kind of really smart and really on it, and so he's kind of dragging me through it really, which is great. So I think I'd be 50 steps further behind if I didn't have him with me. So I'll be honest, I'm not coming up with any invention myself. He's telling me what to do. So basically, he's my AI. Yeah.
I think it's is it possible to actually ask ChatGPT how AI could solve my problem? So for an example, if people here today go, what's the biggest headache that I have? And let's just say it's generating more leads, or let's say it's understanding my financials, or maybe dealing with a staff member that's always late.
Yeah.
And could you ask AI what tools, or can you actually ask it how it could help you, or what other programs to use to?
Exactly right. So I was talking to Svetlana before about this kind of lead generation, and it was around the idea that the step before that is like you need a marketing plan. So it's, hey, I need to generate leads. Here's the objective. We set custom instructions so I knew her business a bit better. And then step by step, we go, okay, cool, here's what you're trying to do. So here's the guy. Recently I was looking for a tool for a client and I'm like, I don't know anything about this industry. So what tools are really good for this? And it pulls that through some great ones. But I could go to Google and do it, sure. But what I did is I gave it criteria. And I gave it, here's what I needed to do, therefore features, way faster. So all those sort of things, it's how can I, give me some ideas, kind of bounce off me.
But Mike, you would ultimately like to be able to have AI generate your quotes for your jobs. Is that what
Yeah,
we're hearing you say?
We have like a project that will go for 3 months, and then we have an apartment owner with a scratch on the floor, and it's quite annoying when you're dealing with like a massive company, you know what I mean, and they don't care about you just big picture, and then someone wants you to fix this and that, and you've got to give them a quote. When these people don't care, you just get into it and build them every month and get on with it. But they're still important to us, but not important at that moment. Maybe important in 4 weeks when we finish the big one. So I guess that's really. When you said about the images and you said about Google Cloud, I thought, oh well, that's quite interesting. You could upload images, set some kind of rules with it. Say this is going to take half a day or a morning.
For sure.
So that would be something that, I mean, if you could do something like that and get a self-generated,
it's
be amazing.
It would be. I mean, with Google Cloud, it's hard. Like with the images, like you can train it, but the cost to train it for small businesses, it's like for those really like refined things, it's like, wow, is it worth it right now? Which it hurts me to say as an AI guy, but you know, it's like for those sort of bespoke things, you go, here's 1,000 houses I'm going to give you, and this is how much a room would cost to do, right? Like it's possible, but it's going to take just time to train the model, which is a whole nother conversation. But it is, you can literally provide, we could say, we've got, do you do it like by like dollar amounts, or do you do it like it's a small job, medium job, large job? Would you go by square foot?
Yeah, pretty much a day. I don't know how long half a day's work.
Yeah.
It's real basic.
So you go, this is small rooms, we'd say it's half a day's work, the general rule of thumb. So then what you'd do is you'd go into Google Cloud tool and you'd go, if you had, how many rooms would you do a year?
Lilo? 1,500?
1,500?
1,500 rooms, yeah.
Okay. So then what you would do is you'd go, if you stood in the back corner of a room, right, and you took a photo of it, for every one of those 1,500, it's going to get better over time, so you go start with 200, right? And you go into it, and it might take you a couple of hours, but you go small room, medium room, large room, and you label every single image in the tool. It's super simple. It's like upload your files and then just give it a little label next to it, like a visual interface. And you go small room, medium room, large room, and you train it over time. So over time, it'd go, okay, that's a medium room, that's a large room, it's a small room. And you go, if medium room's half a day, that fits into your automation. And go into your, your leads, your invoicing or estimate software. Pop in a little estimate. I don't know, what tool do you use for that?
I got one called Tradeify, which is it's a little bit clunky, but it just
does the job. And
yeah.
So yeah, like I think I've seen that on Xero actually by mistake. I was looking for another trading business, and they had an API, so we got into Zapier or whatever tool, and so you could go, this is a small photo, and like use WhatsApp or anything like.
Every day.
Yeah. So you go into WhatsApp, have a channel called New Opportunities, right? Yeah. Photo that uploads to Google Cloud, and you've already trained it on the data that we've just talked about. And you go, cool, medium room, create an estimate invoice, what you're going to do, and then you could automatically send it. I would recommend that you just have a thing where it goes into WhatsApp, going, hey, quickly review this, go from there.
Yeah, that sounds amazing. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. And then, Adrian, we haven't got onto your one. Can you go to the microphone?
Go for it. Yeah.
Yeah? Where do you want to start?
My one was just basically that, at the moment we've got sales programs and that we sort of teach to people, but things are changing, from day to day. Everything's always changing, and especially in the world of sales, everything's different. It all sort of progresses. Yeah. Can it take what we're actually doing and then just improve it? Depending on what else has happened.
Yeah, so what tool do you use for the training?
This is not any tool as such at all. This is just PowerPoint slides.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's like in-person trainings.
Yeah.
So what you could do is, this is what I've got on my, this is an example here. So on my MacBook, when I'm doing like a Google meeting, I've got a little tool called Poised. It's a little one that tells me my words per minute, my use of, if I'm using ums, ahs, things like that. It makes me super self-conscious. It's great. See? Yeah, exactly. Boys would go, red flag. It's again, oh gosh. Whew. So there's tools like that now, but for you, what it would be taking a recording or a video. Video's a bit harder, but audio recording in the room, and it'll give you notes going, hey, you did this, and then we could do video capture, but that's just too hard. Too much hard work for a day. But there's like video capture things you could do. You go watching people's faces, Big Brother.
We do a lot of it online, so all the online ones all captured anyway.
Cool. So you go engagement levels, all that sort of data, and you go, where were the dips in engagement? And so you'd pick that up, and then over time it would train itself. So you'd go, if you had a recording of your online training, it would figure out the timestamps. So that podcast, we're getting like the transcriptions and timestamping as we go. Between a minute 30 and a minute 45, you had a big drop off. So maybe we need to look at where you were at that point and figure out how to refine it. So it's a bit of human intuition at that point, but it could be the red flag to go, or yellow flag maybe, around what's gone wrong here, or not wrong, but could be better. So
that's poise, yeah?
Poise was for online, and then for the more like analytical pieces, it would be probably just a matter of taking your audio file, uploading it to, you could use any tool. You could use one called, OpenAI's one, it's called Whisper, which is the same people as ChatGPT, and Whisper can do really, really long transcriptions, and then you'd kind of take that with, because you'd have like verbal input from people, right? Yeah, so you just take, here's some key spikes in verbal engagement, or how long it took for someone to suggest something. So if you in front of anyone got any questions, everyone's like, you go, okay, there's an issue there. Versus, yeah, I've got one. You'd go, that's a good indicator. So you just keep, teach it that sentiments. You just over time would need to figure it out. Like it's a matter of just kind of training it and refining, because it's no one-stop tool, of course, but it's a matter of just over time learning and updating it.
Perfect, thank you.
Awesome. And then video content creation. I'm conscious we've probably got like 5 minutes or so left, so we'll quickly fly through this one. The answer for you is I don't know, because that's what my business partner does. He uses those tools. But the resource which we've got, we're going to do a list of all the tools that we're using, and so I'll make sure that you get that one. Cool. Is there any questions in the room that we've got in the last 5 minutes? Did I see him? Yeah. And then we'll ask the panel and go through. Yeah.
You talked a bit about the Google Suite connections. What about Microsoft and
I just
Copilot?
had that question before.
Yeah.
Office 365 does connect, yeah. The other cool thing with Microsoft is they own 50% of OpenAI. 51% now, I think, whatever it is, like a majority stake. So they are integrated into all their tools natively. So I don't know if anyone uses like Notion or anything in here for documents or Google Docs and all that, but literally can you say, hey, Microsoft Word, write me a document about this, that, and this, and it can pull your data from your Google spreadsheets, Excel sheets, all those sort of tools, and it can pull.
That's under Notion?
No, literally inside the Microsoft Suite as well. I don't know if it's available in New Zealand yet. I don't use Microsoft.
You got Copilot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one. So that's all possible within the tools. To answer your question, yeah. Sorry, one on the front row here, second row.
Just very similar to your discussion with Adrian. So I've got a client who does a video blog about tax and accounting and things like that. So I'm assuming that we can do a transcript of the video.
Yeah.
AI will summarize it down to bullet points, automatically send an email out to a database saying this is what's in the email or what's in the video, and then direct people to that video.
The other really cool thing that's happening now is, and I can't remember the name of the tool because it's quite new to me, there's one that literally can upload a video file and it will automatically create into like short snippets for like social media like TikTok and Instagram, and they're great. I mean, it doesn't quite get the some of the like the key points, but it's pretty damn close at figuring. Here's some short snippets as well. Yes.
I've got two questions. The first one is security against hackers,
Mm.
and secondly, how much memory Should you actually upgrade it to give you more memory, to give you more grunt, to actually be able to adopt and use AI more effectively?
Okay, your second question, no, it should be fine. It's, yeah, unless you're running your own, like, really nerdy ass stuff on your computer, no. But for the online tools, no. And your first point, security. Anyone like had a look at this yet on the panel? I'm keen to hear how you're navigating this, but
I was a little bit worried about it, to be honest, because obviously AI is just sort of going through, all of our websites and our data, and they can create stuff straight from that as well.
Yeah.
So somebody could create our programs based on what we've got on our site online, and everything as well. And I assume then the IP doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's a. I'm no lawyer, but I've heard there's a lot of stuff.
There is a massive lawsuit going on at the moment in the States for plagiarism.
Yeah, so there's one in. So yes, there is one for text. It's a whole thing. OpenAI, is it OpenAI or Google? One of them.
I heard John Grisham talking about it because they came together 5 or 6 top-selling authors, and they have a massive issue with their content being taken out and created into new books.
It's a big concern. I think in the US they just announced that with images, it's not copyrighted, so it's one thing. It's kind of a sign showing where the legal system is going. Again, not legal advice, disclaimers, all that crap. But the other thing here is with like text-based, I think it's OpenAI or Google, I can't quite remember, one of the two. They've just come out saying that you get any plagiarism checks or any issues with that, we're responsible and we'll handle it on your behalf, which is a really good sign. Like it makes its businesses feel a lot more comfortable, because I think the early 6 months everyone's like, it's a bit of a risk, there's unknowns. So yeah, that's a big thing there.
I have the same concern around security around the programs like content. So I mean, I would love to put my workbooks in there and swish them up and make them that, but I'm not going there yet because I don't feel that that's safe, because that's my IP.
Yeah, cool. So basically on that, and I've got about 1 minute left, so I'll quickly wrap this up. But the overarching thing with data is the internet was trained, AI was trained on the internet, which is a sketchy thing. How it happened, who knows? But what happened is now that like teams like Microsoft, Meta, so Facebook and Instagram, they're working on labeling all AI generated images as AI generated on Instagram. Things like websites, Google's working on a thing where it says on your website this content was generated by AI, in terms of your backend, so it doesn't crawl it. So it's a really good way of kind of protecting our data on the internet, because it is a huge concern for businesses that have all this IP. In terms of training it inside the tool, if you're using, turn off the training thing, it's not an issue, but if it's turned on, it goes into the big turning wheel. Any final thoughts before we wrap up? Oh yeah.
One last question. I was told by a person who does SEO, obviously for businesses, and he said that any content that is generated by an AI is recognized by the search engines and does not get ranked.
So my business partner, his sister used to be head of some big title of Google in Australia. So we actually asked that question late last year when we were playing around with it. And we got the strong approval from Google in an email saying it doesn't do that. So yeah, that was a big indicator. There is rumors going around on that, but it's also the other thing is there's so much more content being generated now on the internet, it's hard to rank. Cool. I think we've got to wrap it up. Sorry. I wish we could, but definitely we'll pick it up after this.
To share something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can I do it quickly? No.
No? There's the answer. Hard word. Pick it up afterwards.
That's all right.
Quickly, final thoughts of anything we're going to do differently from today, our businesses, things to try, and then we'll hand it back over. Microphone's next to you. Floating microphone.
Thank you. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
gonna start playing.
Start playing. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, I think it's something that block out half an hour in a day.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you end up going down the rabbit hole. So little short
Yeah.
bursts of time. I think.
Absolutely right.
Add a lot more detail to my prompts. I love the bit that you said at the end. Have you got any questions regarding this?
Yeah.
That's the definite one.
Treat it like a
straight away.
human. Play with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that last.